Good morning, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I am bringing a video to you today about a subject that's of interest to me. It might be interesting to you or someone you know about, and it's about property. The subject is property and all of its interesting implications in 5 minutes or less, maybe a little bit over, but property is a big subject. It's been a point of confusion for people in general since the dawn of time, I guess, and they say property is 9/10 of the law, and so on and so on. Seems like there's a pretty simple solution, and I'm going to share my idea with you as far as deciding what belongs to whom and when and how. And some of this is going to be pretty obvious because if somebody owns something, if they earn it or purchase it legitimately, it's pretty obvious, pretty clear to them and everybody else that it belongs to them until somebody either tries to lie about it or steal it. So the question becomes, how do you enforce property? How do you decide where property belongs, who it belongs to? And my idea, in a nutshell, is there's something called logical property, and it is exactly what it sounds like. That is, something is your property if it logically belongs to you. And what does that mean? It means you earned it, like I said, or you bought it legitimately. And legitimate is one of the important factors and an important variable. So, if I earn something or build something myself, I haven't mentioned building or creating something of my own, but that's probably the most legitimate way you can own something, is to create it. But obviously there are other ways to own something. So when there's a dispute, there's going to be a dispute. What do you do? Maybe someone's genuinely confused about the property. Maybe they are trying to obtain something that shouldn't belong to them. It can't belong to them because they didn't earn it or buy it. There's going to be disputes no matter what. How do they get resolved? So the answer, my idea, is that it's already settled, because the person who it belongs to either possesses it or doesn't. And once a complaint is lodged by the person disputing that, it can be substantiated like any breach of contract or crime. There's going to be a very cursory investigation, which is sometimes called in court, it's called I'll come back to that. Anyway, there's a legal term for it, to substantiate something to move forward. And once that's done, there can be an investigation if necessary. I mean, obviously you don't want to spend too much time and money on something trivial or petty, but once everybody kind of gets on board with the idea that there's this logical property thing, that if it's something that you've possessed for a long time, you've been using it, and maybe it was a joint ownership to begin with, or maybe your role in its ownership is questionable, but you've been using it for so long that it has become a fair use thing. I mean, there's going to be a single answer is kind of my idea. There's a single, fair, logical answer about who should be using this thing, and at which point that parties can't agree on what that answer is. Only then should it be decided by a neutral third party, an unbiased judge or mediator, moderator, whatever. But it's pretty simple. We make a big deal about property, and I want to finish up this video with one observation about property, especially in the context of being fair. Something doesn't belong to a person unless they own it outright. I'm going to say that again. If somebody has a claim to your land or your vehicle or anything, and that is they impose some kind of fee schedule or subscription on it, a renting agreement, so to speak, or a taxation framework upon it, a licensing scheme, which we see everywhere all the time in the form of property taxes. And this isn't going to be a manifesto, so to speak, about that, but if you have to pay taxes to keep your property, there's an authority over you who owns it, and you own it conditionally, and it is fair to say that you subscribe to it. You rent that property on the best of days. And I see this as a problem. You can disagree. You can say death and taxes are proper and they're unavoidable, but I think that's also questionable. I think that if somebody's going to require you to pay fees or taxes or license something, they own it. They legitimately have a prior claim to it, and they're letting you use it. You don't own it. They do. If you're paying on it, if you're continuing to pay on it, something to think about. So, we all take property taxes and such for granted because they're so common. We all have to, everybody's paying them. So we want to keep our head down and stay out of trouble. That's our motivation for, getting along in life. So, but what if you can't even own land? What if? Does that change your perspective? Do you feel any way about that? Do you feel any way about, the promise of being able to own a car or land or literally anything being a lie? Is that a problem for you? I don't know. It's a problem for me. But anyway, not like I'm going to fix all that today. So I hope you all have a good day. I'm going to, and thank you. If you have questions, email me at whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Thank you.